to infinity and not so beyond. How's it going, fellow cinephiles? This is Dominic from Film Overload, the channel where we talk about movies, pop culture, and everything in between. Today, I am reviewing Lightyear. This is the newest Pixar or Disney movie that they released back in, I believe, June. I didn't see this in theaters. I finally watched it on Disney Plus, and I want to give my 2 cents about this movie. In this movie, I have a lot to say about this movie. Now, I find this very hard to believe that this was the movie that Andy decided to watch and eventually fell in love with in order for him to get the toy for his birthday. This movie is not good. I'll just say this straight out. It's very boring. That's the best word I can describe this movie. It is really, really boring. There's nothing that goes on, hardly. The story itself just feels incredibly generic. It feels like it was just kind of dumped out there just to be dumped out there. I didn't really feel a sense of thought or care behind this movie, and I think it shows in their final product. And again, I just don't believe that this was the movie that Andy watched in order for him to get the toy for his birthday. This movie just doesn't feel like it represents Buzz Lightyear, who he is as a character and who he is just as, Buzz Lightyear. It felt like a disservice to him and his character. It just felt like they just used his name to get people in the theater. I think that's the main reason why this movie ultimately bombed with not only audiences, but at the box office as well. Now, Disney has made some questionable decisions this year. A couple of examples I can think of is Turning Red, which came out in March, and their newest box office disaster, Strange Worlds, which I will not be reviewing because that movie just looks completely uninteresting. But the downside is about Disney lately is, unfortunately, they've decided to get into kind of the social commentary zone, which ultimately is not what people go to the movies for. People want to kind of escape from the world they live in, which is why we go to the movies in the first place. And when Disney decides to throw in their take on what society should do as a whole, then people have issues with it. And Lightyear is no exception to throwing in a couple of things that are kind of hot topics in society. Now, I personally will not get into those issues. This is a movie review, not a social commentary. But as far as the movie goes, I just thought it was very bland. It was very boring. It's just slow moving. There's hardly anything that's going on here. There's a couple chuckles here and there. There's a lot of forced humor, which just does not look good. It just felt like generic Marvel writing at some points throughout the movie. The story's all over the place. What they did to Buzz as a character, in my opinion, is pretty unforgivable. Buzz does not act like himself at all. He doesn't act like a hero in this movie. He just kind of wanders around going, oh, woe is me, this is all my fault, without going into spoilers. Something happens and he blames himself for it, and that's kind of the main basis of the movie. He's in the state of, oh, woe is me, and it's just really sad because the Buzz that we all grew up with is nothing like the Buzz that Disney has presented us in this movie at all. I think the biggest distraction in this movie was the absence of Tim Allen's voice. Tim Allen embodies Buzz Lightyear. He is Buzz Lightyear, and that voice is iconic. And the performance Tim gave throughout those years for those 4 movies is something truly special. And his absence from this movie greatly shows. Chris Evans, he really tries to sound like Buzz Lightyear, but you can still tell it is Chris Evans. He doesn't have that voice that Tim Allen has, and Tim just had the perfect voice for Buzz Lightyear, and I just could not get into Buzz as a character, not only because of the way he was written, but because of the way he sounded. my brain is so used to hearing Tim Allen in this role, and when I didn't hear him, I kind of disconnected from the character, and it was pretty sad because as a kid, I loved Buzz Lightyear, and seeing him just again being completely destroyed by the writing of this movie and the way Chris Evans sounded, which he sounded okay. I'm not hating on Chris Evans. He sounded okay, but he's just no Tim Allen. Even the supporting characters in this movie just felt really off base and not interesting at all. They just kind of guide Buzz throughout the course of the movie. A lot of decisions are made by supporting characters. Buzz again is in that headspace of, oh, woe is me. So he needs to kind of be guided around throughout the galaxy by these other characters, and it's very rare that Buzz takes like a stand and is the leader, which is kind of disappointing because in all the other Toy Story movies, he is the guy that comes up with the ideas. He is the guy that that gets the job done, and to see him just be the complete opposite of himself was an incredible distraction. Another unforgivable thing that this movie does is that they do my boy Emperor Zurg so wrong. And I won't go into spoilers on what they did to make him just completely unwatchable, but he is so bad in this movie. The tension that you feel between Buzz and Zurg throughout the course of the original 3 films, it's completely gone. Because of what they do to Zurg in this movie. And in fact, one of the cringiest lines in the movie is one of the supporting characters and Buzz come across one of Zurg's robots, and Buzz asks who is Zurg, and I couldn't help but cringe in my chair when I was watching this, because the supporting character then goes on to say the robots call him Zurg because that's the only thing they know how to say, so we just assume that his name is Zurg. Yeah. As far as award season goes, I can see this movie getting nominated for animated feature, considering that this year has been kind of shallow when it comes to animated features. It's Disney. The Academy loves Disney. They loved Disney for a very long time. So I can completely see Lightyear getting a nomination come Oscar time. Will it win? I don't know. I'll have to let you guys know. I kind of want to check off some more animated features before the year is over, but I think it'll be between Lightyear and Pinocchio, the Netflix Pinocchio, for animated feature. Overall, Lightyear is a complete disaster of a movie that really doesn't know what it tries to be. It tries to capture the audiences of all ages while leaving them with absolutely nothing to take with them. And I think that is really the fault of Disney and them trying to incorporate certain things that just audiences are just not interested in anymore. The story is weak. Buzz is not Buzz. He just doesn't feel like himself. The lack of Tim Allen also really hurt this movie a lot, considering that people were really excited to hear his voice once again as Buzz Lightyear, and I think that played a huge factor to why this movie bombed both with the audience and in the box office. So that's it. That's my review of Disney Pixar's Lightyear. And if you guys liked what you see here, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications so that you can get notified every time I post a video. You can follow me on Letterboxd, which is right there. My Letterboxd account will also be in the description, and I usually write my reviews on Letterboxd, but I will have links in my Letterboxd review linked to this video that you are watching also right here. And as always, guys, happy movie watching. Take care.